one of the keynote speakers at Promise Keepers this year. David Dusek, thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Now, a lot of the speakers, of course, local ministries. You're our international guest speaker, I suppose, in this regard. Based in Florida, but currently in Australia at the moment. What type of ministry are you doing there, David?
We're doing ministry to men. So we fired off last weekend up in Cairns in far north Queensland.
Yep.
And then we were just recently midweek, we were in Armidale up in the mountains, and now we're in Port Macquarie, New South Wales on the coast. We head back to Sydney day after tomorrow. So we have a weekend event here in Port Macquarie, Friday, Saturday, and then we'll head back to Sydney on Sunday.
Is this your life, kind of men's ministry out of a suitcase, traveling from town to town? What's that like for you?
It is. It has been since 2006. So we're coming up on 20 years of full-time vocational ministry, which started as leadership training, and then God sort of reorchestrated the plan over time to create Rough Cut Men, the ministry we've been doing pretty much nonstop since 2009. And it's our life. I travel 100 to 120 days a year, mostly in the States, but God continues to open doors. I believe this is my 18th time in either Australia or New Zealand since 2015.
Wow.
So God has opened a lot of doors for us. And this will be believe it or not, my third Promise Keepers. I keynoted in Wellington in 2017 and keynoted Auckland in 2019. And now I'm coming back. So this will be my third time with the PK and Z guys. So I'm excited about that.
Hey, any more than that, David, and you have a New Zealand accent. I'm sorry. Hey, talk to us about Rough Cut Men's ministry. What's the heart behind it? What sort of things are you focusing on?
Well, simply put, the standard issue elevator speech is that our mission is to equip men to forge the unbreakable bonds of battle-ready brotherhood. Because most men we've found play a really good church game, but in a lot of cases are completely alone, isolated, feel like they're the only one struggling through a particular battle. So we give men permission to first be transparent, and secondly, to create a bond of brotherhood so that they're not traveling through life alone. Our biblical model would be a David and Jonathan, or Moses when he went up on the hill when Joshua was fighting the Amalekites on the valley floor, that he had Aaron on one arm and Hur on the other. For practical reasons, to hold his arms up when he got tired, to put a rock underneath him when he could no longer stand. And I think that's why Solomon said that we should pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up.
Yeah.
It's a grievous shortfall in our church structure, so to speak, where we can gather and be fed on a Sunday morning, or even at a massive Promise Keepers like we have coming up in Auckland. But if a man leaves by himself, that's a dangerous place to be, because that's when the enemy really does his best work and wreaks the most havoc, is on isolated men. So that's our mission. And oftentimes I use movie clips. I won't be using a movie clip on my message coming up at PK this time, but normally I do. But there's an incredible story that I'll be bringing that has to do with the World Trade Center and combat. So it'll be a fun message.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to that. I don't know, maybe some guys, maybe I put my hand up on this one, maybe we're slow learners, but as you say, the wisdom from thousands of years ago in the Bible is, come on, guys, don't do this alone. But actually, not just within the church either. This, I don't know, something about the male psychology that, yeah, okay, we've got a few friends at a shallow level, but as blokes having close relationships where we're in each other's lives, guys are terrible at this for the most part.
Absolutely. And a lot of it has to do with the fact we just don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
We've been burned by someone in the past, whether it's a church person or a work person or a good mate. It could burn us, and when that happens, we tend to throw the collective baby out with the bathwater, and we don't get back into relationships. And I've got a kind of a statement that I make where time develops trust. If I don't spend time with you, there'll be no trust. If there's no trust, there won't be a relationship.
Yeah.
And we tend to put these things out of order, but time develops trust. Trust creates the relationship. And only then, once we have that relationship, does that open the door to discipleship. And if you try to do those in an inverted order, you're going to get what I call inch deep, mile wide. Same thing you were talking about, very shallow, superficial relationships. And there's no value in that, especially when we're dealing with marriage and raising kids and finances and work and all the things that every man, regardless of where they go to church or even if they do go to church, struggle.
And hey, as you mentioned beforehand, putting so much emotional energy into pretending that we've got our act together, whereas actually that is so far from the truth, and nobody is close enough in our lives, perhaps our wives, if we're in a marriage relationship, who know what we're really like when nobody is looking and they're rolling their eyes and biting their tongue. But there's nobody, particularly from guys in relationship together, that's close enough to know that we're faking it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, I know there'll be people listening in at the moment who are saying, you know what, that is missing from my life. That is something which I know that I need, but where do you start on that? In the culture in which we live, and I'm sure this is an aspect of US and New Zealand and Australian culture that is very similar, it's difficult for guys to recognize this as a need that they have relationally in their life. You've just got to keep your head down and keep your mouth shut in some places. For somebody who's listening to this at the moment who's saying, you know what, I need that in my life, but I don't know where to start, what would your advice be, David?
Well, I think the first thing, just like I said, time develops trust. So you've got to get invested time-wise. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on a Sunday morning and sharing a pew at an Anglican church.
Yep.
It can be in a fishing boat, on a golf course, out hunting, on a motorbike ride. I mean, there's at a coffee shop. There are so many places that we can get together as men. In fact, in my pre-salvation life, there were times when I think I had more authentic, transparent conversations with another bloke in a pub than you do in the church a lot of times. And so I think if we could get outside of our own heads and get into things that we enjoy doing, and I often say it's not what we're doing, it's who we're with. And if we go start to develop that relationship, and over time, we'll go from, hey, how about the All Blacks and their latest game or whatever, to, hey, I think my marriage is really in trouble. The only difference between the first conversation and the second is the fact that I now trust you enough to express to you that there are some things in my life that I wish were a little bit better. So to get started is just simply to make that, I joke, it's like a dating relationship. You got to ask somebody out. Go get a coffee, or better yet, if you haven't been in the church for a while, come to the event that we have in Auckland on 2nd August and meet some guys and see what happens, because God never rushes the fruit. Green bananas taste terrible, so you just have to kind of take the time to develop the relationship, and over time, God will show you who that is and just how deep you can go. And you have to be graceful to a degree, because we are human and we do say dumb things sometimes. And there may be men out there, even in the church, that will turn you away from the whole thing. But you got to get back. You got to get back in the game. You can't sit on the sideline any longer. It's time to get back in the fight.
Very good indeed. Hey, very much looking forward to the Promise Keepers Men's event happening the 2nd of August. Promisekeepers.org.nz for details. And hey, get a team together. Yes, if you can't find somebody to go with, go by yourself, meet some people there. But I think one of the strengths of Promise Keepers is a group of men from your church or community carpooling together, having food together, hearing some engaging, some challenging, some inspiring messages like the one that David's going to bring. Promisekeepers.org.nz, the place to go for details. 2nd of August, make sure you lock that in with your calendar. Talk to your guys. The guys at church this weekend at church, and hey, we will see you there at Promise Keepers. David, thanks for your time. Thanks for being on the program.
God bless you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.